After a brief holiday hiatus, we are back here on Bills by the Numbers, where we let the stats tell you where the Bills are at. We're presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Coming up, how well positioned are the Bills in the AFC Conference playoff race? Is the division title even a remote possibility? And what opponents could be a bad postseason matchup for Buffalo? Steve is quizzed on Bills' December history, and we'll have our one burning question. Somebody get the shovel. We got to move some snow. Always good to have you with us. He's Bills Wall of Famer Steve Tasker. I'm Bills play-by-play man Chris Brown. And we've made it to December here in the 2025 season. The Bills heading into Week 14 are in the seventh and final playoff position at 8-4. The lowest-seeded wildcard team. That is subject to change, as 8 teams are separated by just 3 games in the loss column, with 5 to play in the AFC Conference playoff race. Right now, the New York Times Playoff Simulator projects the Bills to finish 11-6 and be the 5 seed in the AFC when the season is over. They have the Colts and Texans as the 6 and 7 seeds with 10-7 records. Their division champions are New England, Denver, Jacksonville, and Baltimore, which would mean the Bills would face the Ravens in Baltimore in a rematch of last year's divisional playoffs. Your thoughts, Steve, on that juicy matchup?
Yeah, I'm not so keen on the Baltimore matchup. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder from what happened in Week 1.
That's true.
It's tougher to go into their building and play. And from this point, we still have 5 weeks to play, and certainly a lot of things can happen. Teams will figure out at this point, even with the injuries that they've got, who they're going to have down the stretch. And they're going to figure out their best way to win. And you can bet Baltimore's going to do that. Certainly the Bills have done that in years past and will do it again. But that is anytime you go on the road in this playoff situation, you're playing a team that is going to be tough to beat, obviously, because they're playoff caliber. And they're probably sometimes playing well. Their emotions are going to be in it. They're going to be playing on an uptick. You rarely find a playoff team that limps into the playoffs unless something happens bad on Week 18. So the Baltimore matchup's a rough one. Now, certainly they've struggled in recent weeks because of Lamar's injuries.
Yeah, Lamar doesn't look the same.
Lamar could be 1,000% healthier.
Could be.
In 2 weeks, let alone 5.
Yeah. Of course, it's nice that the New York Times playoff machine has spelled this projection out for us. 5 games to play is a lot of football.
It sure is.
For most of the teams. A team like New England only has to play 4 because they had their bye in Week 14. So I think a lot is subject to change, particularly in the AFC South and the AFC North. Any of 3 teams could still win those 2 respective divisions. And so I think to say, the Bills could play the Ravens. Sure they could. They may also be playing the Bengals on the road if they get hot here at the end, and Baltimore and Pittsburgh stumble. And I think we're all expecting Pittsburgh to stumble. And the AFC South is in much the same boat, with the Colts falling back to the rest of the pack now at 8-4 heading into Week 14. So I think there's a lot to be determined, not only in terms of how the wild card seeds are going to shake out, but who the division champions are in those 2 divisions. There's a lot.
Yeah, certainly the New England Patriots look far and away like they're going to run off with the East. They still haven't mathematically eliminated
We'll get into that in a little bit.
But, yeah, the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Steelers out to a fast start. Now they're stumbling.
Well, they do that every year.
They're in
stumble
flames.
Down the stretch.
Ravens just the opposite. Stumbled out of the gates. Now they're cooking, but they look hamstrung, no pun intended.
Yeah, Lamar doesn't look the same. He's injured, clearly not 100%.
The Bengals, Joe Burrow's back in the saddle, and they looked like greased lightning last week against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
So, and Cleveland, they may have the best defense in the division.
Right.
So,
not that they're going anywhere.
Yeah, they're not going to go anywhere, but they can be a huge spoiler for any of these teams. So I'm with you. You don't know who it's going to be. It's a wide open race. There are conceivably, within reason, 2.5 teams: the Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals. And I like the Bengals better than the Steelers right now. The Steelers are in flames.
Yeah. Bengals can't stop anybody, but if they could score 35 every week, they'll win more than they lose.
Yeah, but in the long term, when you live like that,
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable because, somebody drops a pass and you lose.
Yeah. The Bills currently have a 91% chance to reach the postseason, sitting at 8-4, but just an 8% chance to win the division. New England, as we know, has the division lead by 3 games over Buffalo with 5 to play. They also have a superior division record, 3-0, to Buffalo's 2-2 mark. What's interesting is the Patriots are 5-2 at home and a perfect 6-0 on the road. Buffalo faces them coming off of their bye in Week 15. If the Bills beat Cincinnati in Week 14, their chances of winning the division improve slightly to 11%. If they follow that with a win in New England, those chances improve to 24%. The division is a long shot at best because they would also need New England to fall off a cliff. But how likely do you see the Bills running off a string of wins in December? Let's start there.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think they're going to have a winning record for the rest of the way from Cincinnati, New England, Cleveland, Philly, and the Jets. They're going to win more than they lose. I don't know that they're going to go 4-1. They might. But they might. I don't know that you can go 5-0. I don't know they're going to go 5-0 and finish the season 6-0 coming off the Pittsburgh game. Although it's going to be a tussle every game. I think the Bills are going to play well enough to do that. They've got Philly at home. They've got the Jets at home. They've got Cincinnati at home. The New England and Philly game are the ones that kind of stand out as real issues. Philly, it'll be interesting to see the kind of shape they're in emotionally when they get here. Man, they are getting run through the ringer.
And Dallas is super hot right now.
And
in their division.
Yes, their fans are unhappy. Their team is unhappy. They're getting picked apart in the media. They have all kinds of stuff going on that they have to deal with. Forget about the team they're playing. It's like putting fires out.
There's a good chance they're going to need that game, though, in Week 17.
Absolutely. So the New England and Philly games are the ones that you kind of look at and go, man, here we go. But the other three, you're going to be favored in, and you should be. And they get a break with having the ones at home they've got at home. So, yeah, the Bills could. The Bills are always going to have a winning record coming down. They've played very well at this time of year in years past. Their coaching staff and McDermott have done a very nice job of finding, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, this segment, they're good at figuring out their best way to win, even after all the injuries and after the turnovers and all the things that have happened to them in years past. They have figured it out.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine they're going to continue to do that, and so they'll play some of their best football coming down the stretch.
They typically have under Sean McDermott. And so I'm bullish on the Bills finishing strong here again. And I think for some reason with this group, when the picture of what needs to happen for them to get where they want to go comes clearer into focus here at the end of the season, they're really good about kind of honing in and going 1-0.
Yeah, well,
every single
that
week.
comes from Josh. We've seen it with just casual observance of watching him play in big moments, and you go into the analytics, it's the same thing. He's got an extra gear, and he seems to find it in this time of season.
Yeah. If Buffalo is able to win 4 of their last 5, and their only loss is to the Eagles, which would not be a conference loss, they would finish 12-5 and would have the top wild card seed locked up. The only way that would be good enough to win the division, though, is if the Patriots lose 3 of their last 4, with 2 of the 3 being division losses, one obviously to Buffalo in head-to-head, and then they'd have to lose to the Jets or Miami.
Yeah.
As we said at the top of this podcast, Buffalo is projected to face the Ravens in Baltimore, according to the New York Times playoff machine. Knowing the other projected options would be Denver or Jacksonville in the wild card round, is there an opponent you would prefer over the Ravens in that group?
Yes. Well,
Jacksonville?
I would.
Not that going to Jacksonville has yielded fruitful results for this team under McDermott either.
I would take any team in the South except Houston. I don't want to go down there either.
Yeah.
We've seen that. But Indianapolis or Jacksonville, I would take either one of those teams.
Not Denver, though. With that defense,
no, not with that defense. And going up there in the altitude late in the year, it'll be bitter cold.
Dry, yeah.
It'll be dry, but it'll be bitter cold. Now, Buffalo's played well up there. Not that they've won every game up there, but Josh has played well up there. Remember, he had the nice game.
Yeah, the 48-19 game.
Yeah, but
2020.
Those would be the ones that either Jacksonville or Indianapolis coming out of the South would be a more favorable matchup, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to play Houston. That might be one of Houston or Denver. They're not good matchups for Buffalo. Because they're both very good at stopping the pass because of their pass rushes. So
yeah, and there's no way you're going to play them here.
And their run defenses are strong enough to slow down what you do on the ground, even a league-leading rushing attack. So I don't think those are good matches for Buffalo at all. You want to give me Jacksonville? I'll take it in a second. You want to give me Indianapolis? Talented team, a lot of highly skilled players. I just think they're new to the postseason. I think you slow down Jonathan Taylor, put the game in Daniel Jones' hands, and you probably have them. Ravens, tough in their building, playoff tested, battle tested. Is Lamar healthy, though? That's the big thing.
I was watching
those options.
I was watching last week's game, Cincinnati against Baltimore, where Cincinnati lumped them up pretty good. Baltimore was all over them in the early going. They had Isaiah Likely muff a touchdown that he had.
That was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. Then they had another touchdown called back. And that game changed dramatically. And you would expect – I was shocked when I saw the final score of that game when you look back at it and Baltimore only scores 14 points against Cincinnati's defense. Yeah. Well, you see the reason. They had 2 touchdowns taken back. And so that's and that not only takes it off of their ledger, but it also gives Cincinnati an extra possession. So all that stuff being said, Baltimore doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
They just don't. As you know, the bad breaks they got, Lamar just doesn't look the same. And I'll say this too, Cincinnati did some dumb stuff defensively that I don't think Buffalo would do. We'll just see.
Yeah, he's had 3 different injuries over the past month. Knee, ankle, toe. He's not moving the same way. I think it's impacting his decision-making because of, he's playing hurt, and it's distracting him. I think it's impacting how he plays, the dynamic athlete that he is. I mean, I think he's only had, I'm not sure he's had an offensive touchdown since he's returned to the lineup. It's been mostly rushing touchdowns for the Ravens, and he has not impacted them on the scoreboard nearly as much as we're used to seeing him. There is a chance that Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cincinnati all miss the playoffs. How would that change your outlook on Buffalo's chances this postseason if those clubs were all out of the playoff picture?
Well, and if that's the case, there's no question Buffalo's got the best quarterback in the conference in the playoffs scenario.
In the playoff pool, yeah.
Now, Drake May's playing extremely well, no question, but Josh has got a bigger engine and he's got a higher ceiling and all that. Here's the problem. Yes, your quarterback's better than anybody else in the tournament, but I don't know that this roster and the team that's made up around Josh, because of the injuries and the turnover and the stuff we've seen, that it doesn't have more question marks than any roster that's been around Josh in one of these other tournaments they've been in. Yeah. So I don't know that the answers to the questions we have about who the injuries, the pass rush, Bosa's health, Ed Oliver's out, all the injuries that they've had, Michael Hoyt's out. This surrounding cast around Josh may have more question marks than any roster Josh has gone to the tournament with, outside of maybe 2019, right? So, yeah, I mean, you love it that those quarterbacks are out of the mix because it gives you, the trump card every game.
Yeah.
But I don't know that this supporting cast has been healthy enough and shown enough ability to overcome it that it would make a difference.
C.J. Stroud has not gotten it done in the playoffs for the Texans. Daniel Jones is a mystery. Bo Nix has his detractors. They can't score points right now.
Right.
Their defense is winning them games.
Drake May is a problem.
Drake May is a problem. For stretches of this season, he's been the most efficient quarterback in football, and he's a big play quarterback as well. So, and he's got an aces coordinator who has been there and won Super Bowls in McDaniels. So that guy's probably your biggest threat if those other cats are not in the playoffs, as has been the case for the last several years. Let's pivot to the numbers game, where we'll see if Steve can nail down some Bills December history. Here we go. Question number 1, Steve. How many wins do you think the Bills have in the month of December since 2020? So the last 5 Decembers, how many total wins do you think the Bills have accumulated?
How many Sundays is that total? Give me that.
Usually 4.
All right, so it's 5, 4, 20. Well, they had the one where they lost it, throwaway game. I'd say 20. I'll say. They finished up 18.
You nailed it, Steve. It is
Really?
exactly 18.
I was going high.
Exactly 18. Question number 2. How many times since 2020 have the Bills gone undefeated in September?
20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Undefeated in September since 2020.
September or December?
December.
December.
Undefeated in December
I will say,
since 2020.
well,
How many
3 times.
3 times would be correct.
'Cause
You're
you
2
gotta-
for 2,
yeah,
Steve.
I did the math on that because you only have 2 losses in that.
Well, you actually have 3 total losses,
all
but
right.
yes.
Okay. Well,
But
it's
you're on
my
you're
bad math.
2
worked
for
out
2.
me.
Question number 3. Since 2020, what do you think the Bills' points per game average is in the month of December? Since 2020, points per game average.
I'll say 32 and change.
Oh, so close.
Really? 31 and change.
31 points per game on the nose. And question number 4. Since 2020, which single season was it that the Bills averaged the most points per game in December? You know, over all those years, they've averaged 31. What's the high water mark in December? Which year in that stretch? 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024?
I'm going to say 2024.
And Steve, you have gone
Come
4
on,
for
give
4
me
in
some.
the numbers game. Running the table.
Let's go!
Steve is Mr. December.
I'm Mr. December.
2024, they
The first one
averaged.
got me. The first one got me when I got 18 out of 20 wins. That was big.
2024, they averaged 37.8 points per game.
Yeah, they had
in December.
Remember they had the LA game 42-44
That they lost.
and then they scored 44
48.
48 and beat
Against Detroit.
Yeah, that was
that juiced
back
the
to
number
back.
up a little bit.
Let's go.
In case you're wondering, in 2020, the Bills were 4-0. In 2021, 2-2. 2022, 4-0. 2023, 4-0. 2024, 4-1.
Then they had the throwaway game in 2024.
But
right?
that was in January.
Oh, okay.
So that
All right.
didn't count. There was another loss mixed in there. I'm not going to pretend
see,
to
there's
know
where
where it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 4-1 last year in the month of December. They can go 4-1 this year in December,
Right.
and New England stubs their toe. You never know. Bills fans, get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the app today to play any way you want. Plus, with live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started. Best of all, you get paid your winnings fast. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the Buffalo Bills. Time now for our one burning question. And this has to do with Buffalo's defense. Does Shaq Thompson's recent play on the defensive side of the ball warrant more time at the middle linebacker spot, even when Terrell Bernard is healthy again?
Yeah. I would say yes. The thing that Milano has stayed healthy and seems to be playing a little bit better. You see him making a tackle once in a while. He's not the All-Pro Matt Milano of 3 years ago, but he's playing better. Shaq Thompson brings something to the table, and listen, I'll say this though too. What we have noticed about Shaq Thompson from the Pittsburgh game till the middle of the week and coming into the Cincinnati game is his leadership and what he brought to the table, and he stood up in the meeting, he gave all this stuff and got his guys fired up. That's also what that's why Terrell Bernard is on the field.
Yeah, that's why he's the captain.
He's cut from that same cloth. So it will come down to the guy they want on the field, how he plays, the physicalness and the tackling ability and the size of Shaq, or, the athleticism and speed and playing in space of Terrell Bernard. Neither one. You get the feeling neither one of those guys will balk at any way they are used. They're buying into whatever the plan is. So if you switch them in and out on down and distance for coverage and run stop and whatever, I'm sure neither guy will beef that at all. But Shaq Thompson has earned more opportunities, and we've talked about it at length with the Sean McDermott era. When you earn it, you get it. So it's hard to envision him not getting more.
Yeah. He has been a physical presence at the second level of their defense. I think over the course of the season when he has been in there, he's been their most consistent linebacker. I don't think we're talking out of school in saying that. And look, it's not an issue right now because Bernard is dealing with a pretty bad elbow injury. We don't know the nature of it, but it kind of looked like it got dislocated. That's not fun. It's going to take a minute for him to get right. But when he does come back, this is a very good problem for the Bills to have because all too often they get to the end of the season and they don't have enough people.
That's right.
Having a surplus would be a welcome change for this team going into the postseason.
They have 5 games left. It's over a month. It's week after week after week after week. They've still got to get to the end of the season.
Yeah,
they're not out of this yet. They're not in the playoffs. They have, nothing is settled yet. They've got a long way to go, and that's, us sitting here and it's like, wow, we got all these games. They've played 12 games. They got 5 games left. It is a long way. A third of the season is left. It's a marathon, so they've got a long way to go to get to the end of the season. I'm sure. I'm 100% sure that they're going to need Terrell Bernard back on the field at some point badly. Whether it's Milano sitting down or whether it's Shaq Thompson getting tweaked or something else happens where Taron Johnson gets nicked and now they're going to go 3 linebackers. All of that's on the table because they got so far to go. But yes, Shaq Thompson has made his presence felt.
Yeah.
It is a good problem to have when Bernard gets healthy if he can. But you're going to need him. You got to get everybody healthy as you can, as healthy as you possibly can.
It's like Coach McDermott says when people talk about backups and last 3-4 guys on the roster, he looks right at the media member that asks the question and says, "We're going to need everybody."
Yeah,
he knows all too well this season is far too long. Yeah. It's a battle of attrition. You're going to need everybody. Our closing figure deals with wildcard playoff teams and their Super Bowl chances. In the Super Bowl era, 7 wildcard teams have gone on to win the Super Bowl. The old playoff system 4 seed has won it 3 times, the 5 seed 2 times, and the 6 seed 2 times. The last time a wild card team won it all was in February of 2021 when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went from the 5 seed with Tom Brady to Super Bowl champs.
Not that long ago.
It is not. That'll do it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use or watch us on the Bills YouTube channel because when you need to know about the Bills, you need to check Bills by the Numbers. For Steve Tasker, I'm Chris Brown. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time, everybody.